we'd like to thank the members of the press for attending this morning and say good morning to the BVI public. We're here to announce the opening of the BDO Digicel primary and high school football leagues. You're probably wondering why we're doing it in September, because we normally do it in January. But that's a change that I'll explain in a minute. Before we get there, I'd like to introduce my colleagues here at the head table. I have Miss Cassandra Gregg, the well-known coach of our primary school program. Next to me is Mr. Abinel Clarkey Morton, executive member responsible for youth. On the far side, we have Mr. Avondale Williams, the coach for the high schools, responsibility for the high schools. Next to him is Ms. Katasha Melville, responsible for public relations and sponsorship at Digicel. And next to me from BDO, I have Mr. James Harris, the man who handles the money, the office accountant. Yes, we've changed the dates of the school's program. We're now running it in the September to December term. In this way, we hope that we'll be able to get through the program a lot quicker and more efficiently, because when we've been running it from the January to May-June period, of course, it's corresponded with examinations that are being taken at the primary schools as our young people prepare themselves to move on to secondary. So to escape that problem, we've now brought it into September, and year on year now we will be running it during the September-December term. Hopefully that will please the headmistresses and headmasters of the primary schools. Last year we had around about 1,060 young people participating in this program, and for this semester we anticipate we're going to be around the same numbers. Obviously we still have young people signing up because school's only just started, but we're anticipating that at the high school level we're going to have around about 300 young people. That's 100 girls, 200 boys, and at primary between 700 and 800, and girls normally are around about 250 and boys will be 500. So we're basically leveling out at around 1,000, 1,100 young people, which at those levels we can cope with our present staffing. If we move above those levels, then obviously we would have to look at our staffing. But if your child is not yet registered, please register your children with your particular primary school. We're covering all schools as normal, all of the schools on Tortola and all of the schools on Virgin Gorda, Jos Van Dyke and Agada. And in a minute I'll pass you over to Mr. Morton to talk a little bit more about those teams and also the locations, because we're anticipating that we're going to be using more locations around the island this semester, and in that way then we can give the family of the children that are participating the opportunity to come out and see their young people play. This is particularly important for those schools in the, say, the West End area, Isabella Morris, and in the East End, Willard Wheatley and Francis Letson, because we have to bring those children into town. So we're anticipating we're going to use the fields in those particular areas. So I think at this particular point I'll pass the microphone over to Mr. Morton, who can give you a little bit more detail on the actual leagues and participation.
I must say pleasant good morning to each and everyone, the media, the sponsors, and the BVIFA executive member and coaching staff. On the 23rd of this month, we'll be starting our school program, school league, with a march past that starts at 3 o'clock from the ferry dock to Altier Static Ground. We have over 700 primary school children, 300 high school children. Based on the thing, we have a U7, we have U7 team, U9. We go back to the original U12 instead of U13 for this year, because they're the junior High School. And there are 5 under 14 teams, 5 open boys teams, and 5 girls teams, including Anigada, Bojingada, Cedar, and the BVI High School and St. George's School. The match part begins at 3 o'clock. All children at school are supposed to be assembled at the dock for 2:45 on Wednesday afternoon. I must say a special thanks to video, the newcomer on board Digicel, and our coaching staff, Cass and Avondale, William, and all the other persons who played a very important part in the league. I must mention that for the last school year we had 1 ladies U9 team from BFEC, that's Brigada Facts Educational Center, and we're hoping in 2016 that we can separate all the girls from the boys in the next tournament coming up in September 2016. So I must say what we're looking for from all the people and the community, the schools, the parents and children to be cooperative with us and make sure that this year league is a success. I must say thank you.
Yes, thank you, Clarky. That was a point I should have brought up, that in the past at primary school level we've mixed the girls with the boys. What we've been noticing is that on most of the teams there's 1 or maybe 2 girls on the team, and if you look at the actual number of registrants, it means that not all of the girls are getting a game. So as Mr. Morton says, the Brigado Flax actually have an under-9 team composed of females in the under-9 league, but in 2016 we're going to be splitting boys away from girls in under-7, under-9 and under-12 to give them a better opportunity of getting playing time. I'd now like to hand the microphone to Cassandra Gregg, Coach Cass, as she's known to our young people. Been involved in this program for many years and very successfully runs the primary school program. So Cass, over to you for a few words.
Good morning to everyone. First of all, I'd like to say thank you again to our sponsor DBU, for the past 4 years going on. For the primary school, it has been a success throughout the years. The numbers have been rising rapidly. Hopefully this year, the switch that we made will make any difference. I know there's a lot of kids coming into the primary school, and I explained to the principal that just encourage the young ones still. We're going to work with them as of January if they're not ready for our league in September. But the forms are going out to the parents, and all I'm asking is, please parents, if you could fill it out, sign it up, send it back in so we know what we are working with. I know school started a little late, but we have patience. Please, by the end of this week, which will be Friday, I'm hoping to get all the forms in. Parents, thank you for being supportive throughout the year, and I'm looking forward for your support. You've been doing a good job. Without you, our program wouldn't be going anywhere. Thank you again to everyone.
Yes, thank you very much, Cass. I'll just ask Avondale Williams now to say a few words in relation to the high school league. For those that don't know, Avondale is actually the national coach of the BVI men's program, so he's the one that prepares the team for our World Cup games and our regional competition. So we're pleased to have him on board with us now full-time and working with the high school students, so that we now have a routing through from primary to high school to the national teams at under 15, under 17, under 21 and national team. So Avondale, over to you for a few words.
I must say a pleasant good morning to everyone, Mr. President, Youth Development Officer, my colleague Cassandra Gregg as primary school coach, our welcome sponsor from Digicel, Ms. Katisha, I'm very much pleased for your contribution and your presence from your company to help us grow this football program. We're looking forward to work with you on the so I must say thank you. Our high school program is based on boys, girls, and U14 Open. It's been a great pleasure last year for the first time coming to work with the high school at Digicel, and I must say it has been a success. We have quite a full young talent coming through, and hopefully we can identify and start fill our national team for the future. Progress has been going on. I have my coaches working with their present schools, 70, the Elmore South High School, with the assistance of some of the physical education teacher, which is also a plus for us to get their assistance. We have quite an amount of young talented players also came through the primary school. It's now into the high school. So it's just for us to go and identify those talents and continue with them through our future endeavor and also our national program. I must say thanks again, and we're looking forward for another successful year of high school football, and hopefully all the success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Avondale. Yes, these programs couldn't take place without sponsors, and it's good to hear my colleagues from the BVIFA thanking our sponsors. So at this particular point, I'd like to give the opportunity for both of our sponsors to say a few words. First of all, we have Mr. James Harris. He's the financial man at BDO, to say a few words on behalf of BDO.
Good morning, everybody. President and his essential team. On behalf of BDO, we are honored to be a part and grateful to be a part of the BVI Football Association. Over the last 5 years, we have been contributing resources, not just financial resources, but human resources. At BDO, we strongly believe in the development of our community. To be more specific, all youths who are the future of our community. Football is not just a fun sport, but an educational activity. It teaches our youths the fundamentals for the future, such as teamwork, responsibility, self-esteem, discipline, and respect. At BDO, those are some of the fundamental goals we believe in. We believe that our youth should possess going forward in life. With that said, I would like to present this shirt, if the president doesn't mind, on behalf of BDO to the BVI Football Association as a gesture of our support and continued support in the years to come.
You're going to shake hands.
That's good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. Yes, it's been a tough one for BDO because the 2015 league took place in the first semester of this year, so they contributed towards that semester. Now they've been asked to contribute again because we're holding it twice in 1 year. So, Mr. Harris, please take back our thanks to the directors of BDO Limited. We're very thankful that they've come through twice in 1 year. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Katasha Melville to say a few words. Digicel came on board in 2014-2015 by sponsoring our Schools of Excellence. The Schools of Excellence recognises the young talent that we have in the various age groups. It's administered by the national coach, Mr. Avondale Williams. So we're now, with the reorganisation of our timing, the Schools of Excellence for this year will actually commence in January, and in future will commence in January because once the school league is finished, we will have identified our talent, and we'll be working with our Schools of Excellence at primary and secondary level because we work towards a tournament for the under 15 boys and girls in St. Martin at Easter in 2016, and also of course we're working with the under 17 boys for the CFU competition, which leads to the FIFA World Cup. In fact, our girls have recently come back, the under 17 girls recently come back from St. Kitts and Nevis, where they competed with St. Kitts and Nevis, Trinidad and Tobago and Dominica in a qualifying stage for the Ladies Under 17 World Cup. They represented us very well. They didn't qualify, but we're not distraught about that because we're very much in a development phase, and also in an under 17 competition, the average age of the girls was between 14 and 15 years old, so we know that those girls can compete there for another 2 years. So without further ado, I'll pass the microphone over to Miss Natasha Melville of Digicel.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, Digicel is very happy to be on board, and we're very happy because we understand that especially the primary and high school league is that will spin off into the Center of Excellence, and the boys and girls will be chosen from that league to participate in the Center of Excellence come January. We're very happy as well that in the Center of Excellence we are proud to support it because it allows the players to be able to develop at a higher level, and that level enables them to be able to go out of the territory and to play at a national level for the BVI and represent the territory. So that is really, really important, to see the youth develop and to be a part of that development. Lots of other sports get a lot of highlight throughout the BVI and so on. But football is the biggest sport in the world, and it's referred to as a beautiful game. So Digicel is always proud to be on board with any sporting activity, and especially this one, even as the youths develop and go to the international level, and just for them to be able to achieve their fullest potential. And now with the new knowledge that these coaches are now going to be CONCACAF certified, it means now that they will have the necessary skills to be able to take the players to the next level, and Digicel is happy to be on board with that and to see them play locally as well as internationally, and we're just really happy for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Katasha. Yes, there are educational opportunities through football as well. I think the public knows that we recently had 3 boys away at junior college. One's gone on to 4-year college. 2 of the 3 are members of our men's national team. And we've had 3 ladies go away. All 3 are members of the ladies national team. One has gone on to 4-year college. And this year we've sent 2 more away. The captain of the national team, Troy Caesar, has gone to the United States, to Georgia, and Gladstone Burke is working with an English Premiership team, AFC Bournemouth, on a 1-year course there. So we're very excited about this opportunity to work with a Premiership team in England, and we're hoping that we can build that into something new. But just to emphasize for the parents that we talk a lot about developing our young people and bringing them through to the national team. But also the BVI is very aware that what this program is about is not just developing the more exceptional talent and bringing them through onto our national teams, but just making football and the opportunity for exercise and the other good points that Mr. Harris brought out about discipline and teamwork, just making that available for all people, all young people who want to play the sport, and to keep them out of trouble, away from their video games, and out in the fresh air, keeping fit. So thank you very much for coming, We're now open for questions from the media.
Obviously, the earlier start is a transitional thing in terms of the schools getting used to it. Has there been any problems, or is everything going to be as perfectly smooth as usual?
Well, we as part of the coaching staff and executive member, we're expecting a little hip hop, you know, again in the wayside. School just opened about a week ago, so still there's a little thing going on between the school, the coaches, organizing and everything. So we expect it may not be perfect, but we will get there in time to come.
And you said the march is going to Althea Scatliff this year. Is there anything planned as an opening ceremony?
Quite frank, because the AO Sholigun is not available, I think the Althea Scatliff will be too small for us to have so many children and still play an exhibition game. And also by playing an exhibition game, I think it will create problem for the parents who we are asking to cooperate with us, because everyone cannot play at the same time. And that's the issue we have, so we're still looking into it. But we want to make it a fun afternoon for the kids, not just listen to speeches, but a little activities between them.
Centre of Excellence. Sorry, add on to. Mr. Bickerton made mention of the fact that we're taking the primary school and the high school league into the communities to obviously further widen the exposure of the game and encourage more family and friends. Where will the Centre of Excellence be taking place?
Well, after lots of discussion as to going forward with the Centre of Excellence, we have thought about spreading it through the community. So we was looking at if we can utilize the better fields like Capoon's Bay, the Greenland field, which is Eastern, and hopefully in Virgin Garden. We may have a lot of kids from just one night, which can be easier access for them to get across right there and catch the boat. Also the Eastern community, because of the program is going to be expanded. There are going to be so many kids that we can have coaches after this delicensed certified coach from CONCACAF that gain the knowledge to help grow these kids and expand their knowledge showing.
Yeah, Avondale made mention there of a D-licensed course. That's a course that the CONCACAF are putting on in liaison with BVIFA, so that all of our coaches, both full-time and part-time coaches, will have the opportunity to attend that. That's happening next week, sponsored, as I said, by CONCACAF, so that we're trying to ensure that all the coaches that go out to the various schools have participated in a D-licensed course. Obviously, for those that are particularly interested, they can move on from D license to C, B, and A license. Do you have any other questions? Okay, if not, I'd like to thank everybody for coming this morning. We look forward to continuing to work with you over the course of the BDO Primary Schools League and the Digicel program, and look forward to you giving us as much publicity as possible. I wish all the success to our coaches. Thank you very much to our sponsors and my hard-working colleague, Mr. Morton. Thank you.